Hello out there. Welcome to class, everybody. I guess I should, well, I hope that everybody's doing as well as they can in the current circumstances. I miss seeing all of your faces in person already, but I feel a lot of gratitude that we can just carry on in this way and still support each other in our practices to stay as well as we can, mentally, physically, and emotionally. Um, my name is Kathy, for those of you that haven't met me before, and this is a Restore and Refresh yoga class. So it's nothing too crazy, and I'm feeling that a lot of sitting around and not so much to do, and just the time of year that we may move a little bit more than usual, a little more on the refresh side, but for sure have some, it's all very slow and definitely have some nice restorative, longer held poses towards the end. Somebody I heard say something along the lines of that old expression that don't let the door of 2021 hit you on the ass on its way out, and so that's kind of what it feels like, this big whoosh and probably a lot of agitation and mental activity, worry and fear, and all those things that are natural and understandable, and we're not going to try to get rid of anything, but just to come to our mats with some curiosity. It's like a bicep curl when we focus on our breath or just get into our bodies, just noticing distractions and anxiety and just coming back to keeping it really simple today. So for the practice, you can see I've got a rolled up towel, or it could be a small blanket that I've placed up towards the head of the mat. If you don't have that, that's fine. You don't need to, but you might want to grab it. And a couple of pillows is always nice to have. That's really all for today that you might want to use for this class. We are going to start lying down. And so the purpose of this, it's a very small lift, and you may need to adjust it to be a little bit lower if it feels like too much to start with, but it would be similar to using a very small bolster. So the place for it is to be just about where the heart rate monitor line would be. Sometimes we put a block there, but for this one, we want the tops of the shoulders, so the heads of the shoulders and the head to be able to come down onto the ground. So you might need to move around a little bit. This would allow your arms to be also above that blanket roll, so that the backs of your arms can be on the floor and the palms can roll open towards the ceiling. You could have your knees stay bent, maybe falling into touch with the feet wide, tucking the tailbone under a little bit. That might feel nice. Or you could just take your legs long and have your feet fall away from center. I'm already starting to yawn as the body starts to settle into the ground and being able to take up some space. So just make sure you're comfortable. If that blanket roll doesn't feel like a happy place underneath the back of the heart, you can take it out from underneath there. Might feel like the sternum is the highest point of the body in this shape. And there's a subtle lift underneath the back of the heart. Let's use a body scan to start to connect or reconnect with this body that we may have kind of left behind over the last little while. Maybe we haven't been focused on our practice, or it's just easy to get lost in the activity of the mind. So let's bring the awareness to the feeling of ground behind the head. All these touch points, the backs of the hands, the tailbone or some area that is feeling centered in the back of the hips, the pelvis. And the soles of the feet, depending on whether your feet are on the floor or the heels, if your legs are outstretched long. Take a scan through the front of the body as well. So just check in with the forehead, the eyes. Often tension will express itself in the face. Maybe there's a look, a tone. There may be some crinkling between the eyebrows. Seeing if you can bring some attention to that without needing to change anything. It might change on its own. Can you feel some sensations of the temperature around your palms, between your fingers? Maybe here we can be aware of the breath and feeling some sensations of lifting in the chest or the abdomen with the inhale. Moving into space, and then with the exhale, softening back down and into the body. The front of the pelvis, the ankles, the tops of the feet, the toenails. Any sensations that you might be feeling in the feet. Just dancing around here from the feet to the hands, to the top of the head, the back body, the front body. And then shifting the attention to the breath as it is here. You might feel like having an open mouth for a few exhalations, just to consciously release something, and those bicep curls to bring your attention here to breathing. Like you're fogging up a mirror on the exhale. And then if you're not congested, can you breathe in and out through the nose? And follow the breath cycles just for each half breath. Just keeping it simple, breathing in from the bottom of that inhale, wherever you're feeling that rising, expanding sensation, to the top of the inhale. And then starting the exhale and following that through, also reversing the chest, softening the belly, releasing. And then riding the waves of breath, if that is okay for you to give some attention to this for a few rounds of breath before we begin to move. No problem if this is something that creates anxiety for you to have this breath focus, then just let that go too. Just let your attention rest back in the body in this shape. Let's start to move the legs a little bit. A little bit of a shake, wiggling the fingers and the toes, nodding the head left and right. And then let's bend the knees. We'll keep that blanket roll underneath the back of the heart, if that's okay, and slide the hands behind the back of the skull. Let's pick up the head for a moment without using the neck muscles. So let the weight of the arms just be there. Track one elbow down. So right elbow down towards the right side a little, and then come back. You can just see your elbows in your periphery, and then over left elbow a little down and over to the right. So you start to open up in the thoracic spine, a little stretch in the upper back. We're going to use the little bit of the support for some curls here, just to warm up the abdomen, staying up, and then letting the inhale draw the elbows back towards the floor, the head, the back of the hands, and a little press down through the elbows as the chest lifts on the inhale. As you exhale, knit the ribs down, using the hands to lift the head, coming into that, just that little curl. And then the inhale really slowly draws you back down, pressing the elbows to the floor at the finish of that inhale. And then the exhale is that little curl up. Tailbone stays anchored, and just as much attention on the way down on the inhale, backs of the arms press, and then on the exhale to curl it up. Let's do 3 more, nice and slow. Equally focus. There's some work on the curl up, but also on the lengthening. See if you can feel the lengthening on the way back down. 1 or 2 more, wherever you're at. And as you're done there, just roll over to one side. So we can take that roll out from underneath. Just place it out of the way somewhere. And you'll always use that blanket for your knees, for some hands and knees stuff if the floor is a little bit hard. And come on back down here. Let's let our shins come off the floor and bring our hands into an A-frame shape down at the sides. And let the knees start to drop over towards the right, just a wee bit, so your left shoulder stays down. Left bum cheek will be lifted a little here. The inhale will bring us back to center, and then drop the knees a little over towards the left. Again, just warming up the core, coming back to center. We'll do lots of twists and some heart openers today. Exhaling over to the right. Inhale, center. You can follow my breath cues if that feels like it makes sense in your body. Knees over to the left on the exhale. Just keeping the shoulders nice and quiet. As you ring out a couple of times here. And then you can be going at any pace. A little slower, a little quicker. Good, let's come back to center and bring the feet to the floor here. Let your hands move in closer, reaching the shoulder blades down the back and reaching the fingers towards the heels so we can set up for some pelvic rocking. So the low back presses to the ground, the tailbone peels up but doesn't lift up yet. The inhale releases and softens the pelvis. And then the exhale, the low back presses down, the tailbone peels up, but the feet stay pressing, the hips are still on the floor. The inhale, rocking a little forward with the hips. And then exhale, pressing the low back, hugging the navel. Let's do 2 more, rocking back and forth. Just feeling the feet and the hands when the mind starts to wander, as it will. Just come back to body or breath. So let's come to the next exhale and go ahead and peel the hips up into a low bridge, inhaling. And stay there for another exhale. Let's reach the arms on the inhale. And then from the upper back, keep the arms reaching back as you slowly lower and peel the entire spine down towards the ground. Let the inhale bring the arms back down beside the hips. And then press the low back down on the exhale. Peel the hips up. Inhale at the top. Stay there again for the exhale. Add the arms, inhaling, reaching up and back, palms to ceiling. And then just relaxing the arms there, and on the exhale, slowly peel down the whole spine. Just enjoying this taper out, rolling out the string of pearls. The inhale brings the arms back down. Hips might rock a little forward, and then the exhale presses the low back down. Let's reach the hips up on the inhale. Stay for the exhale. Arms reach up, inhaling. Arms stay long, and the spine starts to come down on the exhale, exhale, exhale with a bit of control. Arms come back down to the inhale. One more time. Exhale, low back presses. Inhale, peel the hips up. Stay for the exhale. Don't have to be too high.
Arms reaching on the inhale. And then the spine coming down with the exhale. Arms lower, inhale. And then just bring the feet and knees right together. Arms a little off the mat again, and this time drop the knees all the way over towards the right. And then back up to center. Feet are on the floor, and then just coming to the baby toe edge of the left foot as the knees drop over. Different from the first twisting, so just rocking side to side on the soles of the feet. Just as far as feels like a safe boundary for you and feels good in the lower back. Swishing that windshield wiper a couple more times. A little wringing out. And then come back to center here. Let's hug the right thigh in towards the chest for a squeeze. And circle out the right ankle a few times. Feeling into the joint, the sole of the foot, the top of the foot, a few circles in each direction. Now we're wearing tighter shoes and boots around. Good. So let's do a little bit of a twisting movement here as well. So we'll relax the left leg down the mat a ways, squeeze the right thigh in a little bit. And then we'll take the right knee over towards the left. We can open up our arms, right knee over towards the left, so your right bum cheek lifts up a little bit. Still keep your right shoulder down, maybe stretch the right leg out a little to the side, or it might be down on that diagonal, and do a big sweep of your right leg through center, a little over to the right. Start to bend the knee as it comes towards your chest again, and then with the knee bent, take it over towards the left. So your right bum cheek lifts up, and then reach that leg out and down, do a big sweep or a half circle over to the right, and then bend that knee again, and just keep going around like that. Might not be exactly as I'm describing, nothing much to look at, just feeling out these circles. If you want to try changing the direction and sweeping down, just a reverse, or any sorts of shapes here. Ending up in this little bit of a twist, so we get that ring out. Let's bring the knee back in towards the chest. Hold it with your left hand and actively wring out the towel up and over to the left and then back to center. So just keeping the knee bent. Your right hand can rest away from your shoulder to anchor, and then up and over to the left. A few pumps here. Coming up and over to the left to exhale. Inhale, the knee is above the hip. 2 more times. Exhale, bring it out. Inhale, exhale. Come back, hug that thigh in towards your chest for a squeeze. And then stretch the right leg to meet the left leg. Just take a moment there. You might notice right and left side feel asymmetrical a bit, one side longer. Whatever it is you notice is fine. Let's hug both knees in towards the chest before we do the other side and rock a little bit, just reset. And then both feet to the floor. Left knee hugs in towards the chest and a few circles there. Your right foot can be on the floor, or you can straighten it out. Just the focus here on this left ankle, on the foot, moving that around, spreading between the toes. Point and flex. Any sorts of shapes and movements with that foot, with the ankle, windshield wiper. And then we'll start a little of that freestyling. So arms back to that A-frame or T-shape, right leg relaxed and long. Let's take the left knee up and over to the right. So your left hip starts to lift up. Your left shoulder stays down. Maybe there's going to be a straightening out in that left leg a bit. And then a swoop down the bottom of the mat, point the toes. Bring it open to the left any amount, and when you feel ready to bend that knee back through center and into the twist over to the right to pause. Lengthen the leg out as you come down around the bottom of the mat. And then open up to the left, a little bit of a can opener, squeeze back and over, pause in the twist. Left knee to right and then lengthen out and swoop it down, just feeling what's here in the hips, some of the storage of leftover treats or just emotional stories and things we're trying to solve in the mind. Everything's in the body anyways. You can change direction. Whatever might be stuck in the mind, who knows is in the body resting somewhere. So just releasing, not having to think about where that might be. Let's hug that thigh back in towards the chest for a squeeze. And then release that leg down. Pausing here to feel into left and right. Oh, sorry, let's do the more active twist one before we do that. Let's take the right hand to the left thigh and do a little squish out. So keep your left shoulder down, left knee to the right. Use your right hand to help bring back to center with the knee. And then exhale, bring it out. 3 more. A little breath in and then an exhale, exhale, exhale. Activating the exhales. A few more pumps, really good for the digestion here. Keep clearing house. Now we can stretch both legs long, arms at the sides, just to feel that in. You might need to jiggle your hips a little bit and then let the feet fall away from each other. Coming back to some even, steady keel breath. Lighting up the parasympathetic nervous system to calm. Plug the knees in for a squeeze and let the knees move away from the chest as the breath comes in. Squeeze again, so pumping the organs. Inhale, release. This is like a child's pose with the knees in and a little wide and the big toes towards each other. One more time, releasing away. And then squeezing in. Let's rock just side to side, small, or maybe go all the way over elbow to elbow, hands on shins, or squeezing between the calves and the thighs. Just feeling a nice semicircle massage. Oh, a few cracks. You can roll over to either side to pause. Transitioning mindfulness. Taking the opportunity to move slow, letting the body know there's no emergency here right now. Let's press into the free hand in front of the chest to come up. And all the way over to the hands and knees. No, let's just feel a little bit into the hands, swinging the hips from side to side. You can drop the hips over to one side and then over to the other. If you need some padding underneath your knees, you can do that. And you could also do this from forearms. So you could either clasp your hands together and have your elbows just underneath your shoulders as you go there from side to side. Just keep that going a little bit, just turning up some lighting in the space. And then come back to center. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, or they could be a little further ahead. Palms pressing down, or sometimes using fists if your wrists are tender. And let's do a few cat and cow, drawing the chest through on the inhale, and then exhale, peel it into cat. Let's move from the tailbone. So feel the tailbone lifting. And let the rest of the spine follow. Just naturally, without forcing anything. And then let the tailbone lead also to drop down. And the rest of the spine just to follow that along. Take a little longer position between your hands and your hips and add some circles with your hips. letting the hips tip a little forward if that's okay, and then coming back a little bit. Sometimes I'll use my fingertips with the underside of the palms lifted there, little strength, different kind of stretch in the fingers, and then just moving from the hips as you stir some circles around there. In the other direction. Good, back to that long tabletop shape. And then let's move through the shoulders. So let's try circling the shoulders around. For me, this is a little bit harder. Just let the rest of the spine follow along. Emphasis on the shoulders moving. And then other direction. Let's come back through center. And then crawl the fingers way out there. Send your hips back, take it into a child's pose just for a moment. Make sure that feels okay on the knees. And then shift forward just to a longer plank. You can let your hips tip down a little bit, squeeze your shoulder blades, so a small cobra. And then exhale, taking it back. Inhale, shifting forward through a plank, and then maybe a little bit of a hip drop. You could bend your elbows. Just exploring here any little bits of between flexion. And then the forward, squeeze shoulder blades, extension. You might find your spine and your hips warming up a little more here or not. Let's shift that to the forward position and lower down. And then let's just come to have our elbows wide. Elbows a little bit wide. And rest the forehead down on the palms. Wiggle your hips so your legs are just loose and relaxed. We're going to do a few moving the sternum forward, pressing into the elbows, pulling back a little bit and coming into this variation of a cobra. And then lowering that down. We'll do that a few times. Press into the forearms, draw the chest through. Another way you can do this is with a pillow underneath your tummy. And so if you're feeling any low back strain, that's going to be really nice to add the pillow. So just check that out. Legs just comfortably wide, not doing too much. There's some core awareness. There's a lifting of the navel as you lift and lower the head. Definitely go for that pillow if you're feeling any compression in the lower back. If that's feeling okay, then you might let the arms come off your mat and just keep going with a few of those. It's like we're moving in the opposite way that we did when we had that bolster underneath our heart. Just curling up and turn and look over to the right. Checking out the neck, breathing in through center and looking over to the left. You can be at any height. You can be staying in that first position and just do another look to the right and left. And then lower that down. Just rest your forehead palm on palm. Give your hips a little shake. And stretch the left leg long and then the right leg long. And reach the tailbone back. And stretch the arms either off your mat again. You can keep your forehead down. And then we'll just do a little bit of side body or crisscrossing muscle of body, front and back, like you have an X through the center line, reaching the right arm and left leg away from each other. I like to keep my forehead floating a little bit, and then the left arm and the right leg. It's more of a reach. The limbs don't have to come up high, and stay connected with your center line. Feel the navel lifting as you take that walk from side to side. If you have a book or a block that you want to support your forehead with, that can be nice too. So do that a little more. Just feeling the strength in the back body. It's pretty challenging. And then rest that down. Let your hands come to your low ribs and we'll press it up and back. Let's take, instead of being on the knees anymore, we'll take a different version to find some flexion in the spine with the soles of the feet together. So as our counter pose for those back bends, we'll let our forehead just drape forward towards the feet. You can also use your blanket roll if you like to sit up a little bit on. That can feel better. Anything that you can do to support these poses with props is just an act of self-care, some kindness, keeping the emphasis on simplicity and just curiosity for what is here for you right now. Let's see if we can come to some experience of the breath again, where that might be more predominant in the body in this shape. Let's take 5 breaths here, breathing the exhale together. And then in 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, and out. Just continue with a couple more of those. You may notice that the pose may be shifting a little. Something is always changing, it's dynamic, even though we're here for a few breaths. Let's tuck the chin to walk up and roll out the shoulders. Just lean back and shake out the legs. Shake, shake, shake. Make some noise, drum it out. And then we'll come to hands and knees just as a transition. We're going to make our way to a standing forward fold, and just depending on how you like to practice, if you enjoy a downward facing dog, then you can bring your hands underneath your shoulders, curl the toes under, press up and back for a little bit of stretching and pedaling out like that. Or you may be using a couch or a chair just to kind of haul yourself up off the floor, whatever way you can. We're going to give ourselves a minute though. So enjoy if you like a downward facing dog, and if you are there, then shake out the head, press the inner palm, press right out to the finger pads, and try bending the knees a lot as you try to stick your seat up on where the wall and ceiling meet. If you're already upstanding, if you're comfortable taking a forward fold, we're going to all meet there, walking the feet and hands towards each other from a dog shape, letting the feet be a little bit wide so there's some room for the belly, and just letting the chin dangle towards the chest. You can skip that if you're not wanting to have your head below the heart. Let's try bending the knees quite a lot, looking a little bit forward so the belly is right on the thighs, and then exhale, folding that in again. So tight hamstrings, chin to chest. Let's breathe in and drop into that little bit of a squatting, and then exhale to fold again. Let's do that one more time, bending the knees, releasing the hamstrings. And then exhale to fold. With the knees bent, we'll start to roll up slowly, shaking out the arms. Keeping the chin connected with the chest. Knees stay bent, so we're up there, rolling out the shoulders a few times. A few good shoulder shrugs. Come to equal standing, lift the toes and feel what it's like to stand, at least for the first time, together in the class. And spread the toes back down. Not trying to correct anything, but just to feel the body as it's standing now after a few of those warm-ups. Let's do a little bit of jiggling. Just letting some things work their way through just by this really simple, not a lot of muscular effort, but things swinging and jiggling around. So I'm just lifting my heels. Bounce, 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 shaking it out. If you feel like lifting off the ground, you can. Adding any little movements that feel good right now. Some orchestra, conducting, swinging the arms, kind of throwing self off balance. Yeah, maybe some sounds. This is helping to move fluids through the body, the fascial network, like a Spider-Man suit, getting some collagen. Good. Just letting that go. Just notice the breath at the tip of the nose for a moment. Your heart rate, a sense of energy or vitality, anything at all. Let's reach the arms up on the inhale. And then let's exhale and open towards the right and let the arms come down. A little bit of gentle twisting here, reaching the arms up on the inhale. And they don't have to be straight. You could have them bent. And exhale, bring them down and to the left. Just looking over the left side of the breastbone. Reach up, inhale, and exhale, twisting right. Up on the inhale. Exhale, twisting left. Let's do that again, one more time, each side. Press the palms up towards the sky, inhale. Press down through the feet and let's take a side stretch. Let's stay here for a little bit. Just opening up the whole left side of the body, feeling connected from the left heel, left baby toe, through the left hip. Doesn't have to be your deepest stretch at all. Just feeling the tightness or whatever's here. Come back through center, inhale. And then up and over to the other side, pressing the outer right foot, opening the hip underneath the armpit. Inhale, come back to center. Let's take it up and over to the right again. Turn the shoulders to be a little more square to the right. Bend the knees, come down, little circle over to the right, through center, and then up on the left. Inhale, exhale over to the right. Let's come back to center. We'll do the other side. Exhale up and over to the left. Then you can bend the knees a little, start to square the shoulders to the left. So you're looking down to the left foot, and then bend the knees a lot as you come through. Center, up over right side. Inhale, left. Let's come back through center. Release the arms. Do a few wrist circles there. You can open and close the fingers, stir things around as the arms are coming down, down, down. Clasp the hands behind the back. Let's bend the knees again and squeeze the shoulder blades together. It can be nice to, I'll just take my sock off here. My shoulders are tight, so you can hold a sock or a scarf behind your back. Might feel nicer with a little bend at the knees. So it's the same thing, that bolster that was behind our shoulder blades, or when we were doing those cobras down on the ground, just getting that heart opening here.
Maybe looking up as well. Can take the feet maybe a little bit wider. And try sending the belly towards the thighs, letting the chin tuck to chest again, and maybe the arms with something between the hands. Feel nice to let the heads of the shoulders roll forward. Bending one knee a little and then the other. Switching that side to side, letting the arms go one way and then the other way. Bend the knees a lot again as you start to reach the arms back. Come up. As the legs straighten out any amount, squeeze the shoulder blades. Pull the hands clasped or pull the sock apart. And then let's release that. Let's take the hands forward and press the right thumb into the left palm to stretch out the back of the wrists. And then switch. Left thumb presses into right hand. Can bend the fingers down a little bit, just gently kind of calm down or give yourself a press with the right palm. Got my left elbow quite bent there. Just focusing on the forearm and the wrist, and then the other way. And then have the hands together and circle that out. Let's take a few sun breaths here, reaching the arms around, up and back, maybe looking up on the inhale. And then it's a half sun salutation, fold on the exhale. Come up halfway, lengthen the spine parallel to the floor. See if you can feel some of that heart opening, upper back bend, but keep a little core lift, and exhale, fold over the legs. Press into the feet. The inhale brings the arms up. And the exhale brings the thumbs back to the center line, back to the heart, just reconnecting there. Take a breath in and release the arms. Let's do that again. Breathing in, big circle. And then the exhale is the fold forward. Chin to chest. The inhale is the halfway lengthening of the spine. The exhale to fold back down. Press into the feet. You can roll up or come straight up. The arms lift, inhale. Little upper back bend maybe, and exhale back to equal standing. Let's do a couple more of those. Inhale. And folding on the exhale, belly to thighs. Halfway lengthens the spine, breath is coming in, and then the exhale to fold. Chin to chest, press the feet to come all the way up, inhale. And exhale, the last one just with breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Let's meet in equal standing and pause again to feel the body as it is here and now. Feet, top of the head, fingertips, toes, breath. Resting the awareness on the breath for 3, 2, and 1. Let's do one more thing while we're standing here. So take the feet quite wide apart. Turn the toes out. One of my favorites. Toes turn out. Start to drop the seat. Just let your head be supported by the shoulders. Just a pressing of the thighs, strength of the arms, balancing the effort here, just to open up the inner thighs a bit, and then we'll take a twist, dropping the left shoulder, looking out over the right. Inhale to center and switch. Looking over left side.
One more time each side, center, inhale. Inhale, center, and exhale, switch. Inhale, center, lifting all the way up. Heel toe the feet back together. And let's swing it out a bit. Again, loose fists with the hands, wrapping your torso with your hands. Wherever they land is good. Could be the lower back, that kidney band, the adrenals. Really loosen the shoulders as you swing, and maybe the arms want to come up higher. So they wrap into the upper lungs as well and get clearing out some things there. A few more swings. Let the vibration just slow itself down as the arms just naturally make their way to stop, not rushing anything. Let's wrap out. Gentle tapping with the knuckles in around the upper chest, upper lungs, the throat, the thyroid gland. The lower lungs, just as long as you haven't just eaten a big meal. And then getting into the back even a little bit there. Clearing out, dusting off. Some skin to skin stimulation. Releasing some oxytocin, those good brain chemicals. Wherever you can comfortably reach to, thighs or shins. This is going to take us back down to the ground. Let's give your legs a shake, shake, shake on the ground. Let's take a seated forward fold. You might use the prop to lift your seat up a little bit. And we'll keep the knees bent for this one. I'm going to take my arms underneath thighs and lengthen a little bit here. Look for that, the shoulder blades moving in a little bit to keep the sternum lifted. And then let the head go. Might be holding on to opposite elbows or maybe just the wrist there. Some may be able to walk the legs out a little bit, or you can keep quite a deep knee bend. Getting into a little more widening of the lower back, another way to find that. We're slowing things right now, coming into the restorative time. The breath is always dynamic. Doing your best just to take it one half breath cycle at a time. It's the practice of mindfulness is remembering, just forgetting and remembering, starting over, curiosity and kindness. Let's release arms, bring it back up, lean back, flip the feet. You can stay if you like, sitting up on a little something. If you don't need that, it's okay. We'll take the feet wide now and let the knees drop over to the left. The right knee come up and the left knee slowly follow over to the right. Up and over left. And then over to the right again. We'll take a comfortable seat from here. Whatever that is for you, whether you sit in a chair or you boost yourself up on a cushion, just to get a little into
neck, right ear to right shoulder. And then looking over the right shoulder and down slightly. Nodding the chin. Maybe dropping in a little bit so that you're looking over your right knee. And then chin down through center to pause. Movements that we don't generally do so slowly, just to feel it all out. Let your left ear start to line up with the left shoulder. And then tip the nose over the left shoulder. Down a little bit with the chin there. And through center. Let's take it over one more time, looking over the right shoulder. And down. And left side. And down. And back to center, roll the shoulders up, around, and down the back. I'll pause for a moment, rub the hands together. Rest the palms just in front of the eyes, relaxing all of those little muscles. If you'd be more comfortable lying down for this, you can be on your back, just a bit of a face massage, so the palms out towards the temples. The thumbs in between the eyebrows, pressing into the seat of wisdom, the pineal gland, front of the brain. Lifting up a little bit and ironing out any creases, any furrows, any storylines in the front of the brain, across the forehead there, out to the temples. Peace fingers coming down alongside the jaw. Separating the top and bottom teeth and pressing a little into where it might feel tender there between the top and bottom jaw, a little bit of a hole feeling. Give the ears a tug. A few pulls down. Little wiggle. Release the arms and open the jaw really wide. And go ahead, squeeze your eyes, make some faces here. Scrunch your nose, move your mouth from left to right. Ah. Let's give the legs a shake out. Come onto the back. If you've got a pillow or if you have a block, I'm going to come onto the back and slide it underneath the hips. So before we had a lift underneath the back of the heart, now we'll just really let the heart, feel the heart settle into the ground. The hips are just slightly lifted here to start. Let the left leg lengthen out. See if that feels okay. You could do one leg at a time, then the right leg, just to open up the hip flexor psoas, or you can take both legs long. Still want to let the center line, the belly drop. If you like, you can reach the arms beyond the head, maybe catch opposite elbows there as well. Can help to close the eyes to keep the focus inward on breath or just the body sensations that are coming in this shape. Whatever is happening in the body is in the present. If we can invite our attention there. If you like to walk the feet back and the arms back down beside the hips, it might work out nicely to keep the hips a little elevated. And let your legs, just one at a time or both, to float up a little. Knees can be bent, or you can extend the legs.
And let them open up and rest your hands, inner or outer thighs. Being a bit playful with the feet. And rocking your head from side to side. You can keep the legs elevated if you're okay with inversions, no issues with eye pressure, glaucoma. This is also a nice one to have either a chair or a couch underneath the shins or legs up the wall. These are just other options, other ways of getting the same benefit. Wherever you're at, just letting the breath start to fall away, with the tension on the breath to fall away. You're welcome to stay in some form of inversion if it feels like rest for you, or the legs can come down. And if you're using a cushion, it can slide underneath your thighs. So let your hands come to either rest somewhere along the torso, if that allows you to feel more connected with yourself. Or palms can move away from the body as we move into a few minutes of complete rest and digest. I'll read a poem that I read before the holidays, before we parted in in-person classes that some may have missed. Just as an invitation to open up for any way that this might resonate with you. Any part of it as you rest here. Let go of the ways you thought life would unfold. The holding of plans or dreams or expectations. Let it all go. Save your strength to swim with the tide. The choice to fight what is here before you now will only result in struggle, fear, and desperate attempts to flee from the energy you long for. Let go. Let it all go and flow with the grace that washes through your days, whether you receive it gently or with all your quills raised to defend against invaders. Take this on faith. The mind may never find the explanations that it seeks, but you will move forward nonetheless. Let go, and the waves' crest will carry you to unknown shores, beyond your wildest dreams or destinations. Let it all go and find the place of peace and rest and certain transformation. I'll leave you here resting. If you have the time to be longer and would enjoy Shavasana. Thank you for taking the time, just the effort of turning on this recording, tuning into your body, even for a few minutes, is an act of radical self-compassion. The more we can care for ourselves and our own health, the better we can be for others as well. In some way, may the merits of our practice also benefit other beings in our bubbles and beyond. Hope to see you again soon. Namaste.